Welcome to Sewing Anastasia. Today we're going to be pattern drafting an amazing ball gown, and it is inspired by our top 7 favorite fashion documentaries. And if you haven't seen our top 7 favorite fashion documentaries, make sure you check it out. Okay, so our supply list is going to be super short. You're going to need a basic strapless dress foundation. You can either pattern draft this on your own, or you can buy a pre-existing pattern from Joann Fabrics or your favorite fabric store. You're also going to need a measuring tape, and then you're going to need an L square and any other rulers that you like that help you measure. I will also be using a big T square. Okay, and so today I am also going to be using a big fat red marker because you will not see my pencil marks on this paper if I don't. So do not use a red marker at home, use a pencil, but I will be using a red marker. So that's what you need, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do are grab a few measurements. You're going to need to measure from your waist down to the floor because we are making a ball gown. You also want to make sure that you account for wearing high heels so that your gown is straight out the floor. So my measurement from my waist to the floor was 43 inches, and I added 3 inches for my high heels. So I'm going to get 46 inches. So that's going to be my length. But for my ball gown, for the type we're making, I'm actually going to be measuring my length from 7.5 inches down from my waist. So you want to minus 7.5 inches. So my magic number for this pattern is going to be 38.5. So that's the measurement I'm going to use for the length of my ball gown the entire time. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to trace out is my center front dress pattern. Okay, so the second one we're going to trace out is going to be your side front. The third one we're going to trace out is going to be your side back. The last one we're going to trace out is going to be our center back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is trace out our center front bodice, and you're probably wondering why I'm sitting on the table. It's because I am so short, I cannot reach this pattern from the edge of the table. So, let's get started. Okay, so you're going to notice that I just traced out up to that 7.5 mark from my waist down, and that's all you're going to need from your pattern. You're not going to need the full length of your dress. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line connecting both of my 7.5 inch marks. Okay, so it should look like that. Okay, so you want to grab a straight ruler or your L square or a T square, which I'm going to use, and you want to measure out straight from your line here. And I have to turn this over. And it also just happens to be that my T square is 38.5 inches, which works out perfect for me. Okay, so kind of like making a big circle skirt, we are going to measure out 38.5 from this straight line here all the way down and around till we get a huge giant circle at the bottom of our center front bodice here. So now I'm going to move, and I'm going to mark. I'm going to make sure my ruler here is at the edge, and I'm just going to put all kinds of little dash marks. Okay,
So you can see my little dash marks at the end. So I want to connect these all together. And then to make this really easy on yourself and symmetrical, you can cut out half of this and then you're just gonna fold it in half. It's your center front bodice. So your right is the same as your left.
Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna connect these lines. Okay, so now we're gonna cut half of it out. So now we have our center front to our ball gown, and you can see how huge this pattern is. Okay, so now we're gonna do the exact same thing to the front side bodice, and you wanna make sure that you're only tracing it down 7.5 inches past your waist, and you're gonna measure out that 38.5 all the way around until you get that huge circle. So let's do it. Okay, so this pattern is so big that we have to roll our paper down and then continue the other half of the circle. Okay, so now that you have created all of your pattern pieces, you want to lay them on top of each other and make sure your seams line up on your bodice and also on this giant sweeping side seam that we have. So just lay them on top of each other, and you want to walk them, but because they're basically the same shape, you can just lay them on top of each other, and then if you need to, you can adjust or cut off or trim wherever you feel necessary. So my patterns are looking good, and we're done. So this dress has appliques for the strap, so we don't need a strap pattern, and the dress is sheer, so we don't need a lining pattern. So we're ready to sew it. So check out our next video so you can learn out how to sew it. Thank you so much for watching Sew Anastasia today. If you have any questions, make sure you leave it in the comments. I'll get back to you right away. So make sure you like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and check out all of our other awesome videos.